Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. Today is June 12th, 2024. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus Reports. And this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. We are slowly but steadily creeping toward the 2024 NFL season. We got a UFL championship coming up this weekend. We also have a big WNBA matchup coming up this weekend. But what's the big deal for me? The NFL season is slowly approaching. I've already done a few fantasy football drafts just for kicks, nothing serious, no real leagues, just to get a feel for how people are looking at the incoming draft, the new rookies, and where they're lined up as far as their strength going into the season versus the veteran players. So that's all interesting. I'll do a few more of those just to get a feel for how people are thinking before I start to do my real drafts. And hopefully I can bring home one or two more championships this year, which is basically my norm.
But Ben, kind of on the same thought pattern, long story short, this is the whole season right here. And I was looking at one of my programs that I try to keep an eye on in terms of statistics and stuff like that. And they have the odds already out for week one.
Of course.
The over under. Oh
Of
my
course.
God. I just think it's amazing. I just think it's amazing. And when you look at the season in total and just look across the color scheme, number one, you see where the buys start to pop in and where they end up. So from week 15 out, no buys. Week 1 through what, 3, 4, no buys. So that's a big part of it. Here's your week one. And then week one, Niners against the Jets.
Okay.
That's a marquee game. Aaron Rodgers coming out against the Niners. Holy mackerel. Talk about I'm juiced for that one. I want to see this now myself. Shucks. Holy mackerel.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're going to attempt to get that like on a Sunday night.
Okay. Well, it's funny, man. We on our page, it showed something on our page. And you guys opened up against the Minnesota Vikings. This is what you guys might be up against, Ben. The Winter Warriors.
Yeah, but did you see if they wear those uniforms at the first game? Did you see the uniforms that the Giants are supposed to be wearing?
Did I see them? No.
Yeah. They're personally, weird as that might sound for those who have seen them, I like them. I wouldn't want to wear them every
Giants or
week.
the Vikings?
The Giants, but I think they're interesting. But most Eagle fans, because they thrive on talking about other teams negatively rather than talking about their own team positively, they all hate them. They're all saying how ugly they are. They're saying that's why Saquon left the Giants because he didn't want to wear the ugly uniform. Blah, 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 blah. So,
Somebody actually said that.
I kind of like those, though. I like that winter white.
You like that winter white like that?
Dude, when they have a white out at Penn State, I always make sure
to see when you look at the overall stadium.
I always watch the game when I hear Penn State's doing a whiteout. I love just the beginning of the game. Depending on who they're playing, if I watch the whole game. But I make sure I put it on at the very beginning of the game. That's if that doesn't get your juices going, something's wrong.
Oh, for good, for sure, for sure. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, Ben, we're going to run through some topics here, some hot topics at the Ben and Barry on Football Facebook page. Let's take a quick look here. We have the USA Football announcing the rosters for the International Federation of American Football, IFAF Flag Football World Championships. And two guys are from Philly.
Yes.
You're the flag guy. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, not only are the two guys from Philly, hold on one second. Bruce Mapp and Amir, I forgot Mir's last name, doggone it. We always call him Mir. They played in the PTTFL, which is, in my estimation, the preeminent rough touch / flag football league in the city of Philadelphia and basically the tri-state area. The team they played for is nationally ranked right now, in fact, although Bruce hasn't played for the UT Cobras for a while. Mir is a regular member of that team. So I know them both. They're both excellent football players. If you look at the roster, I found this interesting. If you look at the roster, Bruce is considered a wide receiver / DB. But Mir has athlete next to his name.
Wow.
That means he can do everything.
Okay.
He can do everything. He can play receiver. He can play DB. I've witnessed that. He can pass rush. He can return kicks.
Can he play quarterback?
Yeah, the kid is great.
Can he play quarterback?
I've never seen him throw the ball, but I would not be surprised if he could. If he could, rather.
You know, I hadn't checked this out yet, Benny, but you remember we found out through football that I was related to the Samples. You know, John Sample Jr. played with us. His dad played with the New York Jets that won the championship, you know. But my connection to Johnny Sample is through the Matt family. That's okay. He was related to the Mets, and I was related to the Mets. I don't know if this map is related to us, but I have to, you know, I'm going to try to find out at some particular point. But, you know, we'll
don't know
for him when he hits the big time on the football, because this is leading up to the Olympics. I want to do a quick shout out, Benny, the AFI, American Football International, which is the governing body for so much of American-style football across the world, is just giving a shout-out to the CFL, the Canadian Football League. So they had their season opener, the Montreal Alouettes at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on June 7th. Don't know how that all turned out, but we just want to try to raise awareness again. Canadian Football League, their football. Now, that ain't exactly American style, but it's pretty close to it. They got a few more things going on up there when you watch that CFL, boy.
I mean, if you like football the way we do, I mean, let's face it, we watch the USFL, we watch the XFL, we are now looking at the UFL. They are all basically what people outside of this country would call American football. The Canadian League has a few touches to their rules, just like the UFL does, to make their game just a little bit different from the, I hate to say run of the mill, but from the NFL game that we're all used to. And personally, I like a lot of those nice little touches that these leagues have, these different leagues have. Watching a Canadian Football League game is extremely interesting because the receivers can move before the ball is snapped. They can run forward just like they do in arena football. And the dimensions of the field are different.
They're bigger.
So it kind of makes the whole game look a little bit more wide open. I like that.
Their end zone is like massive.
Yeah, I think their end zone is like 15 yards or something. It's crazy. So yeah, I find out that very interesting. I'm sorry, before we go any further, I don't want to disrespect my man. Amir Brown is his name. So Bruce Mapp and Amir Brown, when you watch the Olympics, these guys will be on the USA flag football team, and they are both from Philadelphia, and they both played in the same rec league that you and I played in.
Awesome, awesome, fantastic, fantastic. Man, let's take a quick. Well, no, I'm sorry. This is that. This is the chief player who went into cardiac arrest. He's doing okay now, I believe.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I also heard that he was doing well. So that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna do our own head coach rankings. Um, I'm thinking when we do the brain trust, Benny, we'll do it based on last year's um, net point rankings,
Okay.
the first and last. But
I,
now
oh,
I was looking at the rankings, and again, we always remind people. Rarely is the number one team the team who wins the Super Bowl. I believe the Chiefs were like fifth. They were ranked fifth in net points at the end of the regular season last year.
right.
So, yeah, but that top eight, it's in that top eight somewhere. Generally doesn't fall out of the top eight.
Tell me this. You read the article, right? Did you look at the list?
I kind of looked at the list.
Did you agree with it a little bit for the most part, quite a bit, or no? Because I think it's wacky.
You think the list is wacky?
I think the list is wacky.
Is that because they had Brian Daboll at number 29 here?
That's one reason, but that's not the wackiest of reasons.
That's not the wacky. Well, I
No.
didn't scrutinize it to disagree or agree. I just kind of thought it was interesting, and I try to pull information together for people so that it's in one place. If you want to try to figure something out. 22, Mike McCarthy with Dallas. That was interesting. Raheem Morris getting a lot of love. He's above a number. 18 for Sirianni. What do you think about that one?
It's funny that teams that are being a couple of teams that are being touted as serious Super Bowl contenders, one being the Dallas Cowboys and one being the Philadelphia Eagles, have head coaches ranked so low. Don't you don't I find that intriguing.
It is. It definitely is. And I was even listening to some Philadelphia football media where they were talking about how Doug Peterson wasn't as good as Sirianni and he had fallen off and all of this stuff. Interesting. Sean Payton right in the middle of the pack, just behind my man Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, a guy who the word genius is used after all the time.
That might be true, but they got him displaced by Jim Harbaugh.
How you don't find this baffling?
Well, these guys make up these lists all the time. So
Oh no. I'm not giving any credence to this. I'm just thinking, no, first of all, none of this is an exact science. That's why people are able to throw lists like this together and give their opinions. In fact, who is this list by? Is it by a publication or a network?
I'm just going down because we're down to the 8 here. So
Because
look at the top
I mean,
coaches.
Opinions are great, but and everybody has one that makes them just
They
like
got they got
what.
Dan Campbell.
At
7,
number
Zach
6,
Taylor. 6, they got John Harbaugh. 5, they got Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur.
Kyle Shanahan at 4. Mike Tomlin at 3. Told you those Steelers this year. I'm watching them. Sean McVay at 2. And number 1, you got to give it to Andy Reid. There was no question about that.
I have no problem with Andy Reid. That's the one I have no problem with. Sean McVay's name usually has the word genius next to it sometimes too. But that's okay if they rank him number 2. I'll go with that. Okay. But if you're going to call Mike McDaniel a genius and rank him like 15th, I don't, that just seems weird to me. They could have done a better job with that list. But, what are you going to do?
But it did its job. It sparked a little bit of conversation. That's
A
all.
little bit.
That's all you can ask for. Hey, Ben, Mike Nolan, the Michigan Panthers UFL Coach of the Year.
Right. Are you surprised?
Well,
You watch the Michigan Panthers, right?
they're not exactly the Stallions.
No, the Stallions beat them in the conference championship. If you read the comments to see if there's any comments under there, that might help.
Like the one you left?
Yeah. What's it say?
Used to be with my Niners, eh?
He was the head coach.
For how long?
Oh, that I don't remember. It was a couple years. I believe it was maybe a 2-3 year career. The bottom line is, though, this guy obviously is a football lifer, just like his father was. He
Yeah.
was a well-renowned linebacker coach and defensive coordinator for a whole bunch of different teams. And when coordinators bounce around like that, it's not because they're bad. It's because they're really good. Teams change head coaches. Usually these guys bring in their own staffs. So that cuts a lot of coordinators loose. Not everybody gets fired like the Eagles got rid of their coordinators. So these coordinators usually end up going to other teams and changing everything. And they get taken on usually by pretty good teams because those teams need a change either on their offense or their defense. And these coordinators are very well renowned. That's the kind of guy that Nolan is and was. Now, how he ended up in the UFL, I have no idea. But like I said, he's been around for a long time. He's coached on a lot of different teams. There's a possibility that he took the UFL job to show his head coaching chops to maybe probably try to get back into the NFL and get another head coaching job. Because the only head coaching job he ever had was with the Niners. I don't remember exactly what year it was. I don't even remember exactly how well they did, but I know he did coach there. And but the rest of his career was pretty much as a position coach or defensive coordinator.
Well, all right. You asked the question, Benny. I said disappointed for the Giants. And you said, why? And like I said, I figured I'd wait and just, well, you already had a good conversation with your cousin there.
Right. Well, she didn't have any clue, so I just wanted to let her know a little bit about Waller.
Well, the reason I said this because I think they had some hope that he was going to come in and add something to their offense, with his athleticism, his speed, things of that nature. They gave up a little bit of booty for him. And, he didn't come cheap. So they gave up a little sacrifice. They thought he was going to come in and really be able to help out, and it didn't work out like that. That's the only reason I said discipline. So
I didn't see any reason to be disappointed for them. First of all, I believe he was going on his third year there. He only had one good year, and it was only good. He's
third
been
year with the
beset by
Giants.
yes, he's been beset by hamstring problems.
He's
So
only
most
had
of the time he wasn't.
3 years.
He's been beset. Maybe I don't know. I'm guessing. I can't remember all these numbers in my head. Why you thought he was there longer?
Shorter.
Nah, shorter.
Yeah.
Like what? Like 2 years?
Yeah, it's maybe something like that. Like
Uh, the bottom line is he's been beset by hamstring problems. When a guy has the drug history that this guy had, you're always kind of looking at him a little bit sideways and hoping that he stays on the good path and does a good job with his career and the opportunity that he's been given. He did that while he was with the Raiders. That's where he made his hay. He almost completely blew his professional football career when he got drafted out of Georgia Tech by the Baltimore Ravens and started messing up and getting suspended and stuff because of his drug problem. But when he got to the Raiders, he was able to clean his act up and really show what he could do. But then he started getting banged up. I think the Giants thought maybe they could squeeze a little bit out of him, but I think the Raiders kind of saw something making them willing to let him go. He talks about men's mental health all the time. That doesn't necessarily mean he has mental health problems, but that's kind of hanging out there. He's been beset by hamstring problems, which is never good. Once a guy starts getting hamstrings and being out and coming back and getting another hamstring and being out and coming back, hamstrings are one of those things, though. Guys come back better from ACLs than they do from bad hamstrings. Yeah. And then he had a near-death experience, or what he considered a near-death experience, and decided that football wasn't important to him anymore. So, I mean, you can't get blood out of a turnip. Right. They save a whole bunch of cap money, and they can go out and get themselves another tight end because he wasn't going to get it done. He either wasn't ready to play football or not physically able to play football. So he does them no good.
According to the search result I got, he played for the New York Giants for one season in 2023. Acquired in the trade with the Raiders, expected to be a key target for Daniel Jones, hampered by injuries throughout the season, ultimately announced his retirement in May 2024.
Oh, I thought he got there in 22.
So, but long story short, that's the only reason I said that. I was like, well, they had some hope that he was going to come in and really be able to help their.
Oh, you always have hope for everybody when you try to get them. But once you realize what you've got and it's not what you hoped it would be, I don't think disappointment is the word you want to use for the team. I'm disappointed for him. He talks about how football put him in a position to really turn his life around and help him turn his life around and help him become the kind of person that he hoped he could be. So I just hope that now without football, he'll still be a good dude and be able to carry that on for the rest of his life and whatever he endeavors to do. But I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but when he married Kelsey Plum, I was like, bam, this dude hit the mother load. We talking power couple. We're talking sports power couple. Forget about Kelsey and Taylor Swift. And then 11 months later, he divorces her. And she's like, I don't know what happened. That was a gigantic red flag for me. And right after that, that's when all the other stuff started happening.
He just came out with a really weird video.
Yep. So. And rap songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. So you see where I'm going.
I understand.
Yeah, it started kind of unraveling.
Congrats to Steeltown, selected as the host site for the 2026 NFL Draft, Benny.
Interesting. Very good. I like that. The precedent has been set first by Philadelphia, having, as far as I can remember, the first outdoor NFL draft, which then got copied by this past year. Where was that? Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Detroit had theirs outdoors too. They had a big enough venue to pull it off, and they got it done, and they did a great job with it. So now
Nashville that really kicked it off, though, kind of, wasn't it? Didn't Nashville have like a super duper draft?
Was theirs out? Well, I'm not talking about the draft itself. I'm talking about the whole, how they ran it, how things went, not necessarily who got picked, but was theirs outside?
I think theirs was like all out and down the street. And
yeah, but Philly did it first.
Did Philly do it first?
Philly did it first. Philly was first, then Nashville. than Detroit. So I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. What we found out was having it outside can really work. I don't think anybody believed that before because it used to always be in Radio City Music Hall in New York for a long time before they started moving it around. So, I mean, Pittsburgh is a huge sports town, and Steeler Nation is big time. So you got the Three Rivers there. You're real close to Cleveland. You're real close to Philly. Well, you're pretty close to Philly, 6 hours. You know what I mean? I think I'm expecting Pittsburgh to put on a pretty good show.
Okay. Okay. Again, we like lists. We don't always agree with them. But the top 10 most complete teams for the 2024 season.
Way too early.
Way too early?
Yeah, but you know, there's publications that make a big deal out of making way too early predictions. So I don't have a problem with it.
It's our buddies.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but it's way too early.
Well, I like that they made my Niners number 1.
As they should.
And the Ravens number 2.
I agree.
The Chiefs number 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions number 4.
There you go. So your top 4 is 2 NFC, 2 AFC.
The Eagles at number 5.
Which tells you that people still don't believe in them.
The Bengals at number 6.
Which means people probably believe too much in Joe Burrow.
The young boys stepping up at number 7.
That's how close they are. That's how close they are to being seriously prime time. People are afraid. They're too young for them to put them any higher. They're afraid of that. But they really, really like the Texans.
Well, they really, really like Love, too. Jordan Love.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. These are two. Yeah. Look, if we see a Houston Green Bay championship in the next 4 or 5 years, don't be shocked.
Now, the Cleveland Browns at number 9.
Based on their defense.
Ah, yes. Deshaun Watson. Still
up in the air.
Just don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're going to get.
That's why I'm a little surprised when they say 9, because you can't have a complete team unless you got some real confidence in your quarterback, as far as I'm concerned. But let's look at number 10 and wrap this up. Jets, the only team I had any family that played for.
Just because the defense, the running back, the receiver, and Aaron Rodgers.
The quarterback.
But what people forget about the Jets is
you got these guys against over the Jets, and the Jets got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't played in 2 years or a year.
He'll just go.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Rodgers.
Right. And their offensive line still isn't fixed. So
one thing they got to do for sure is they got to get out of the division first. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, let's face it. The Bills aren't going to be that tough. Not as tough as normal.
You don't
Patriots,
think so?
Patriots are no. Patriots are down.
Yeah, I'm not.
And Miami can't get out of their own way.
Miami can't get out of their own way. I thought you say something about Miami can't play in the cold or something. He's like, they can't get out of their own way.
They can't get out of their own way.
They can't get out of their own way.
But like I said,
they were a well-oiled offensive machine last year.
That was last year.
Well, they did nothing this year. Why
what happened to them in the playoffs? What happened to the well-oiled machine in the playoffs?
Who did they play?
It fell apart. It fell apart.
No, were they up there in Buffalo somewhere?
I don't know where they were. All I know is they look bad.
Are there snowflakes anywhere in the vicinity?
Well, guess what? If that was their downfall, then they got a lot of problems.
They do. They have to bring it home and have home field advantage. That is what they have to do. And if they can do that, then
Well,
yeah,
then I will hold off calling them contenders until they do that.
until they do that. For sure, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Okay, well, that was an interesting, and again, that was what they call the most complete teams. So for whatever that's worth, they were the most complete team. Benny, we wanted to share this, The Rock, a little video saying thank you for all the UFL support. Now, he wasn't saying this to us specifically, but he was saying this to the general population.
Look,
I think we did our little part.
I love The Rock, and I really enjoyed the games I watched. And I watched both conference championship games, and I enjoyed the hell out of both of them. One team I picked to win was the Stallions. They had to come from behind, but they got it done. The other team I picked to win was the Battlehawks. They fell behind and couldn't figure it out and ended up losing. He was conspicuously absent from both conference championship celebrations. I would hope that he's at the chip, handing out the trophy.
Interesting observation.
Yes.
Conspicuously absent, eh?
Yes. I mean, I know The Rock is busy. That's why he's The Rock. But, come on, bro. It's the UFL. This is your baby.
This is conference championship time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm fairly confident that he'll be at the championship game.
So speaking about the championship game, let's just talk about what you saw again. Ready or not, here you go. You got the Birmingham Stallions and the San Antonio Brahmas. Sunday, June 16th, 5 p.m. on Fox. I don't even know why I feel Fox it is from watching that silly what you call carton show.
He's goofy, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but they hold his butt to the fire, every once in a while when he goes a little too off, which he will do. But Birmingham, you think they're prohibitive favorites?
I think Birmingham are prohibitive favorites. I believe when they were in the USFL, they won back-to-back championships. They had the best record in the UFL. They're my favorite team. But I'm a little bit worried. And the reason I'm a little bit worried, I'm going to read my comment that I put under the what you put in on our page. The Brahmas did a masterful job on defense against the Battlehawks. And let's remember, the Battlehawks had a drafted quarterback, A.J. McCarron, although he didn't play much in the NFL. He did get drafted. He was also a pretty good college player, played at Alabama. I think he got drafted by the Bengals. They were all over this dude. They came in with and the Battlehawks had a good record, right? They only lost 3 games, and I think 2 of them were to the Stallions.
Okay.
Conversely, last year in the XFL, the Brahmas were the bottom of the barrel. They did a complete turnaround in one season, changed head coaches. I don't know if that was, I'm going to assume that was part of the turnaround, but it had to be much, much more than that. Okay. They came in with a defense that the Battlehawks just could not figure out. They couldn't figure it out. It's going to be interesting to see what they come with as far as how they're going to attack the Stallions offense, because the Stallions offense is pretty doggone good. But I think we're in for a really good, very interesting championship game. I can't wait. I don't want to miss this one. I hope it doesn't come on around the same time as the WNBA game, because I got to see both of these. Saturday's going to be hot sports day for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend for sports. Benny, we're talking about the championship for the UFL, right?
Right, right.
And I couldn't find anywhere where they say that whoever the two teams in the championship win any money for winning the championship. Zero.
Wait,
You know how you
what?
just like when the NFL, the Super Bowl team,
Yeah,
they
they
get
get
a
a check
bonus,
for the game.
they get a check.
For
I
the
couldn't
game.
find anywhere where they say these guys get any kind of a check for any of this stuff. They get bonus money for different things like MVPs, all of that kind of. There's some bonuses built into some of that kind of stuff.
But no championship check.
I could not find it. And shoot, I asked AI. I was like, AI, can you find it? It's like, no, I got nothing.
We need to talk to The Rock.
Maybe that's why he's conspicuous.
Come
Could
on,
be.
Rock.
I looked, Benny. I looked. I just want to give some love to this lady, Benny.
This is an amazing story. I
Uh,
read this story. I thought this was a joke.
did you?
I thought she was going here talking about like her son or something. This is crazy. This lady decided at the age of 50 that she wanted to play tackle football and she made it and she's
Made the
playing.
spot.
Yo, this is crazy.
Made the squad.
And she plays.
So,
That's crazy.
well, you know something? This is what I will say though. And I've seen this, like, let's say, between me and my wife, right? With her never really competing in sports or any of that kind of stuff, her body is a lot less abused than what mine was. So now, if she wants to go exercise, other than some normal aging stuff,
Right, right.
she don't have any bad knees, bad hips, bad ankles, bad,
I got you.
So, this lady might have, she might have been feeling pretty good at 50. Now, like she said, you don't recover as fast. We start recovering as fast at what, about 30, 35?
Got that right.
So I just wanted to give her a little shout out, man.
No, I think that's great.
And hold on one second. Pearson, that's her name. Okay, I want to make sure we have a name in here. Everyone can read the article. Benny, there's a package now that they're selling where you get the college official video game and the Madden game all in one super duper package. So at some point, I'm gonna save my nickels up, man. And I'm gonna get that package, man.
Bro, you need to save your nickels up so you can watch some of these games on TV. Forget that package.
No, I gotta have this. And I never really played the college version. I was always just a Madden guy, pretty much straight Madden. But I am interested to see, and I, just like you with the fantasy, you get to learn a little bit more about the players. Oh, this is what I meant to tell you. I thought this was hilarious, Benny. I said I got to call him. So, was it a week or so we were talking about some of the top fantasy guys, and the name for the
Yeah.
came up. What's that guy's name again?
What guy?
The running back for the Rams?
Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams. And you were schooling me on Kyron Williams.
Yes.
I'm playing a game. I'm getting cooked right. I'm like, who is this running back? Kyron Williams. Oh
I
my
told you. He's a beast.
I'm getting cooked by this guy. And I'm like, who is this guy? Oh my God, it was hilarious. And the game is like stuck in time. It's like the last update for the rosters. That's where it's at, you know. So I'm gonna lose some of the guys that I'm used to playing with that I'm really going to miss. I must admit. So I'm glad they signed CMC because he's Mr. Everything for sure, no doubt about it. All right, let me see what we got here, Benny. You know, sometimes you hear stuff and you're like, did they really say that? Because I was surprised that the AFI, the American Football International, said that NFL owners will always prioritize profit over player development.
Yes, I agree.
You agree? And that's why they want this 18-game season?
Right. Because they feel like if we say we want an 18-game season, and the players are going to say, well, then we can't play but one or two preseason games. And they're all for it. They could care less. But the organizations, the GMs, the coaches, they're like, how are we going to develop our young players? Once you get past your first round draft picks, how will you know if you got a diamond in the rough that you picked in the fourth round? If you never get an opportunity to actually get him out there and teach him the pro game and get him up to speed with the speed of the game.
Okay, okay.
But they won 18 games. And they know the concession is going to be less preseason games because the players are trying to survive physically.
I wonder if you could extend the preseason or leave it at 3, but just start a week earlier or something, so that they'd have their games.
The first thing I thought of was start camps earlier.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Start camp earlier and make training camp a little longer.
Yeah.
Because nowadays in training camps, teams travel and they scrimmage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you might have one or two teams come in and scrimmage 1 or 2 weeks of training camp. That beats.
I remember though, they get your juices flowing a little bit, man. You're still early in the season getting.
Yeah. You want to go against
all up in there. You be like, let's go.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. Even when we were playing,
that's what I'm talking about. I remember
we're practicing against each other, and then the coach says, "So and so's coming down to scrimmage us next Sunday." We're like, "Oh
yeah, baby,"
because you want to go against somebody else. You don't worry about. I don't want to hit him too hard. That's my teammate. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So yeah, something has to give. But I think that article, the basis of that article is probably correct according to the way that we hear what the owners want and the way that they're talking. They're putting money ahead of player development. Yeah, you own the team, so all your subordinates in the front office are all looking at you like, dude, you're killing us, but you're making money.
Making a ton of money, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, Benny, I don't know how I really feel about this. But they got my boy on the cover of Madden.
Bro.
Pretty much most people think the Madden jinx is pretty much over with. It's broken. But he looks good. What can I tell you? He looks good on that cover.
I asked who was on the Madden cover the year before, and as usual, you didn't answer me. So I looked it up myself, and it was, in fact, John Madden. So I'm going to take that as being a curse breaker because I know you don't want McCaffrey to be cursed because he's on your favorite team. And I don't want him to be cursed because he's a franchise player on my best fantasy team. In fact, he's my franchise player on 2 of my top fantasy teams. Okay. This guy carries me through fantasy. On days when other players come up small, he comes up big week after week after week after week. If you play fantasy and you win championships, that's because you have one, maybe two guys that come through for you almost every single week. I had him and I had the 49ers defense, and they carried me to a chip. I got a little bit of help from Tank Dell, who I wasn't really dependent on, right, but I picked him up. Yeah. But for the most part, you need two studs. If you got three studs, you can send me the trophy now. But if you got two studs, you're in pretty good shape. And they're my two studs. So
yeah, all right. Let's see here. We'll get a chance, Ben, to wax poetic on one Wade Phillips.
Oh, Wade Phillips, my man.
That's a heck of a resume. I had to say that.
Yeah, it is. People in Philadelphia don't like him because he was Dallas Cowboys head coach for a while.
Let me just say real quick about the people from Philadelphia and the Dallas thing. I was on Facebook, and one of the 49er fan pages was doing a Dallas bashing page,
Of course.
And I said to him, don't do that. I'm like, you don't want to be like Eagle fans. They're all
right.
They're all preoccupied with what's going on in Dallas. Every time I look up, they posted something about Dallas. But yeah, man, what's that? 1969 as a graduate assistant. He kicks off his career, and now he's with the Brahmas. Now this is after being with. Look at this list of NFL teams. Gee, Christmas. But it didn't take long. That's when he went from Kansas to the Oilers, the Saints, the Eagles, the Broncos, the Bills, the Falcons, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Broncos, the Rams, and then to the Roughnecks, and then the Browns. So
yes,
he don't let a bunch of grass go up underneath his feet, but it was awful nice. He was saying to the guy, the receiver on the losing.
Oh yeah, I thought that was the coolest thing I saw all weekend.
Tell people a little bit about that.
So Hakeem Butler, I believe he was drafted into the NFL too. In fact, he spent some time in Philadelphia, but he never really made it in the NFL. He was the offensive player of the year this year in the UFL. And I remember him last year. He was good but last year too. But this year, he was the offensive player of the year. Again, I talked about the Brahmas defense. They didn't shut him down, but they kept him under control because he's a beast of a receiver. First of all, he's about 6'6".
I'm looking at 6'5".
6'5"?
5.
Okay, 6'5", 6'6". What's the difference?
Yeah, he's tall.
This guy, and he can run. And he's got hands ungodly. But as you can see by this list, Wade Phillips knows a hell of a lot of people in the NFL. And he told Hakeem Butler, I'm going to talk to everybody I know in the NFL about you because you need to be playing. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. You're an NFL player. You need to be there. Somebody's got to give you a look. And I believe somebody will give him a look. In fact, he had a tryout this week with somebody. I can't remember who the heck it was. Somebody invited him into camp.
Is he a wideout or a tight end?
He's a wideout. He's actually a wideout. He could possibly make it as a tight end.
The NFL has a page for Hakeem Butler listed as a tight end, 6'5", 227. Looks like, did he go to Iowa?
Yeah, they probably drafted him as a tight end because of his size.
Yeah, that's what it looks like here.
In the UFL, he played wideout.
Right. So he's big enough to be considered a tight end and fast.
Yes, but he can run like a wideout. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
He's not a great route runner, but he's a good route runner. and you can't overthrow this dude. Talk about a red zone threat. Forget about it. He's
Oh, goodness.
crazy. So when I look at Wade Phillips' resume, what I first notice is of all these coaching jobs he's had with all these different teams, he's been a head coach. I'm not going to count the interim head coach with the Saints. So he's been a head coach with the Denver Broncos for 1 year. He's been a head coach with the Buffalo Bills for 3 years. Interim with the Falcons. I don't count interim. Dallas Cowboys head coach from 07 to 2010. So that was plenty enough time for Eagles fans to hate him. And head coach with the Houston Roughnecks in 2023, which was last year. I believe the Roughnecks were in the XFL, I believe. So once they merged the two leagues and started the UFL, he came over, got the head coaching job with the San Antonio Brahmas, and now he's competing for his first championship as a head coach.
Well, that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty amazing resume. And again, that he's going to reach back and try to help our Kings. It's a great story.
That was cool. I thought that was like the greatest thing. And the crazy thing is, it was after the game. They had thrown the Gatorade on him, and they're interviewing him. This is his chance to like present himself, talk about his team, blah, blah, blah. And Butler came over to congratulate him. And he grabbed him and said loud enough for the mic to pick it up, "I'm going to talk to everybody I know in the NFL." Basically saying, and I know a whole bunch of people because you need to be there. That was smooth. That was really cool.
Interesting that he's not there. Interesting that he's not there.
Well, I mean, I would have to dig a little bit to find out what some of his downfalls was because he was there.
Right.
He was in camps. He got moved around to a couple of different teams. I'm sure he's on some practice squads. But for whatever reason, he wasn't able to hang on.
But it's interesting because, again, with that label of tight end, depending on where you go, they might have had him listed as the tight end and not really paying attention and trying to make him be a blocking tight end or something like that.
Nah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't surprise.
You can't not pay that much attention. This guy's too good for that.
Okay, well, you say so.
You don't have a guy like that in your camp and line him up to be a blocking tight end and never throw no balls to him. This dude can run and catch.
Yeah, and he still got cut.
Yeah. Well, maybe he couldn't pick up the concepts. Maybe he didn't run the routes good enough.
Could be. Well, he'll get maybe a chance. This is the preseason schedule. Opening up Thursday, August 8th. The Panthers and the Patriots. Friday, we got a little Friday ball, Texans and Steelers. Saturday, we got 3 games. Bears, Bills, Raiders, Vikings, and Chiefs, Jaguars. And then Sunday, 2 games. So they're kicking it off week 1 big time. The Broncos against the Colts and the Cowboys against the Rams. Now, again, we don't expect to see many of the starters, right, Benny?
Yeah, I don't care about preseason games. I really don't. The only thing I care about preseason games is see some of these first round, second round draft picks.
That's what I'm talking about.
Seeing them getting some time. Yeah, well, I mean,
I want to see somebody out there.
I need somebody to go against the number 1 defense.
Play quarterback for the Eagles Thursday night against the Patriots.
Who?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
What's his face? They already said he looks better in camp than
don't say it.
Than Jalen Hurts.
Don't say that.
What's his name? From the Steelers.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
No.
he's the backup. They already said he looks good, Cam.
Oh wow. Well look, he kept the Steelers job. He must do good. He must be really do good in practice. Um, he kept that Steelers job for a long
He
time.
kept the Steelers job for a long time because he looked good in games too. Good, he looked better than what else they had.
Let me see here.
You could look good against Mason Rudolph. Come on.
Well,
Well, what?
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. The reports I'm hearing is Kenny Pickett is looking good in camp.
I like Kenny Pickett. I forget some reason he wilted away in Pittsburgh. But he got a little bit of an attitude too. He got a little edge to him.
Yeah, he's got an edge to him, but doggone it, when you have receivers like they got, you got to do better than that.
Like they being who, the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, he wilted away. I'm not sure what happened. Well, we'll get a chance to see maybe some Kenny Pickett. What did I used to call him? Kenny the Wicked Pickett, fake
Fake
slide,
slide guy.
the fake slide guy, Wicked Pickett.
Terrible, man. You're terrible.
The Lions against the Chiefs. So good to see their backups. Backup Bills against the Steelers. So if it's the
Uh,
back, see, this is one of those games where Bills come in with their backup, Steelers come in with their backup. Who's what? Fields? Be out there wearing them backup guys. I was like, you ain't no real backup starter, you.
I can't get excited. I
I
really
love it.
can't.
I love it. It's football. I'm gonna see somebody gonna be out. They out there trying to prove themselves. This is again, this is why I talk to people about American Idol. Some people like American Idols. They like to see people make fools of themselves. I like to see the young talent emerge and then watch them grow. I like to see that. So here's the schedule. Anybody wanted Ben and Barry on football? Looks like the last game of the season is going to be the Titans. Now, see, week 3 is where they start to filter in a few of their starters. Am I not correct on that one, Benny?
I don't know. Every team's different.
Well, I think you might have a better shot to see a starter or two in this last week of the
The
preseason.
week before the regular season starts, I doubt it. How many preseason games are there? 2 or 3?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So if you're going to see starters, you're probably going to see them week 2 for about a series or two.
Week 2. All
Week
right.
2. You're not going to start your starting quarterback for sure the week before the regular season starts. That's just bad. That's bad juju.
That's not going to work too good, right?
Nah.
Well, um, I think they kind of try to phase. Last time I remember, they try to phase those guys in a little bit here, spring, a little bit there.
I
But
mean, there might be situations on particular teams where they might feel that it's a little bit necessary. Again, talking about the Steelers. If Justin Fields shows enough in training camp where people are starting to go, I don't know, Russ, I don't know. Now, these preseason games start to mean something.
well,
They might need that to make a final decision. I don't know. But where your starters pretty much set, nah.
week 3 is going to lead into what we call the second preseason, Benny, and the second preseason. You get 4 weeks in before you get any of your buys. So here's all of those teams. So they better get ready for week 1. Dallas at Cleveland. I think again, San Fran at the Jets. Your New York Football Giants are going in for the winter white against Minnesota. And we'll get a chance to see a few of the new quarterbacks. Who the Bears playing? Chicago against Tennessee. I want to see that. Baltimore at Kansas City. Yeah, we talked about that.
That's the game.
Yeah, I know.
That's the game. That might be the preview of the AFC Championship game.
They're talking about now the Ravens, when it's time to put the game away and run the ball,
They
kill.
now have a closer.
Oh my
They
goodness!
now have a closer.
They're like, this guy ain't did nothing all game, which means he's not tired. Here he comes.
I think all but maybe 3 or 4 of their total amount of games last year, they went into the fourth quarter with leads, and they didn't win all those games.
This is what I'm kind of
so
from what they were saying here.
Yeah, they were very specific about what they wanted to do with this team. Also, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, who changed a lot of things the way Greg Roman used to do it. He came straight out of college with that, got him to the AFC Championship game before they lost. He now has an NFL season under his belt. He's going to be better too. Ravens are going to be extremely dangerous. And Lamar lost weight. He's back to college speed. It's going to be scary.
A little more nimble.
It's going to be scary.
Sounds like he really wants to be nimble in the pocket. We say nimble.
Either way.
Either
way. So it's going to be scary.
And I think that what did we talk about with the Steelers? They hadn't lost to the Ravens in like a long time. So that'll be a game that I'm definitely looking forward to. Again, I think the Steelers are going to be part of the surprise of the 2024 season. But that Ravens team
that could be. I mean,
ridiculous.
You look at the defense, which is extremely solid, and then you look at the offense and the weapons that they have, and you look at the possibility of Russ actually coming alive again. And if he doesn't, a dynamic athlete like Justin Fields taking over those weapons. I mean, Pittsburgh fans got to be on pins and needles waiting for the season.
The quote that I read recently, he said he feels rejuvenated.
Right. But here's the problem. With Russ, you got to see it because he talks like that all the time. He said that last year. Talking about, let's ride.
Yeah, well, he said, let's ride last year. That didn't go over at all.
Bro.
That was one of the corniest lines of all time.
Bro, and your coach hated you. He hated you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that was a dope dysfunctional thing. In any event, Benny, that's all I got. And when that's all you got, this is what we say. Thanks for following. Please leave comments and suggestions. Our hashtag is footballislife. Our website is www.benandbarryonfootball.com. Please leave us a like, click the notification bell, and all of that kind of good stuff. And tell all your friends. We want to hear from you. Thank you. Benny, you got any last words?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yes, sir.